Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jia Zhang, Dean of the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston, School of Biomedical Informatics. It is a great pleasure and honor to welcome all of you, graduating students, relatives and friends, faculty members, staff and guests, to this commencement ceremony. I will first like to introduce to you the individuals who are participating in this graduation. I want to ask that each person stand when he is introduced. Dr. Kevin Fakingsure, President and CEO of the American Medical Informatics Association. Dr. George Stansel, Executive Vice President for Academic and Research Affairs, the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston. Dr. Hanbin Wang, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, School of Biomedical Informatics. Dr. Elmer Bernstein, Associate Dean for Research, School of Biomedical Informatics. Mr. Ryan Bing, Associate Dean for Management, School of Biomedical Informatics. Dr. Mohammed Hussain, Director of Informatics and Associate Professor, School of Dentistry, and the President of SBMI Alumni Association. Thank you all for being here with us today. Mr. Ryan Bing will now give the invocation. Please stand.
Almighty God, as we gather on this day of celebration and graduation, we ask and invite your presence, your blessing, and your name to be upon all that is said and done in this place. Today we celebrate the accomplishments of students who have learned and grown as they have longed for this moment. We celebrate the accomplishments of families who have supported their sons and daughters in a variety of ways. We celebrate the accomplishments which are a result of the professors who went beyond the expectations of peers and demanded the best of the students in their care who did not know how good they could be. We celebrate the accomplishments made possible by mentors who led by example, of spouses who held up tired arms and encouraged low spirits, and children who waited. In these hard days when we are reminded often of what we cannot do, help us to remember how you have carried us forward. Let angry words not be our mantra, but rather words of celebration, words of joy, and words of hope. We look forward to the possibilities of the future and ask your ongoing wisdom and guidance. This is our prayer. Amen. Please be seated.
Thank you, Mr. Bing. This is the day of celebrating accomplishment, and I'm very proud of our school's graduates. Please note that I appreciate each of you for your contributions to our school, as well as your current and future contributions to the field of informatics. I encourage you to stay in touch. It is beneficial to the vitality of the school, and it may prove important for your ongoing career in informatics. As many of you are aware, on March 1st, I was officially appointed your new dean after serving 1 year as interim dean. I'm grateful and proud to celebrate that milestone with you today and share a few of SBMI's recent achievements. We have been very active in faculty recruitment ground, adding 5 new members over the past year. We have Associate Professor Yang Gang, MD, PhD, who joined SBMI last May from the University of Missouri at Columbia. We have Hua Xu, PhD, Associate Professor, and Director of the Center for Computational Biomedicine who joined us from Vanderbilt in October of 2012. James Jen, PhD, Associate Professor, who joined us in February from the Medical University of South Carolina. Peter Kitterin, MD, MS, who began his appointment with SBMI as a part-time assistant professor shared with the School of Medicine. And Yuan Nong Song, PhD, who began his appointment as a research assistant professor in March. Just to project ahead, on June 1st, Susan Fenton, PhD, MBA, joins SBMI from Texas State University as an assistant professor. On July 1st, Jing Chun Sang, PhD, joins SBMI as a research assistant professor from Vanderbilt University. And on July 22nd, Cui Ta, PhD, joins SBMI as an assistant professor from Mayo Clinic. We have plans to add more faculty in the areas of translational bioinformatics, advanced analytics, and public health informatics as we go forward. This is yet another course for celebration. As you know, the primary mission of the school is, and always has been, education. Biomedical and health informatics is a rapidly growing academic area. Health information technology is one of a very few burgeoning industries, and it appears this will be the case ad infinitum. There is a huge and growing demand for an educated workforce at the master's and certificate levels. And I know that with you, all talented graduates out in the workforce demonstrating added value, the number of people matriculating to our school will increase dramatically. That too is another reason for SBMI community to smile. With the exponential growth of health data, we will need new tools to store, protect, organize, process, retrieve, present, and convert this data into context-dependent, just-in-time information and knowledge that will not only support biomedical discoveries, but also optimize clinical and healthcare processes and tasks. These tools require advanced research in clinical, cognitive, translational, and public health informatics. In response to these needs, SBMI will expand and enhance doctoral and postdoctoral training in these important areas to better educate future scientists and healthcare leaders. Indeed, several members of this graduating class plan to enroll in our doctoral program, and we salute, celebrate, and support that decision. I would only add that we should celebrate SBMI as a small school with a history of achievement and great promise. However, this school can only realize its full potential through the full participation of our team of faculty, staff, collaborators, volunteer leadership, donors, and most of all, students and alumni. As we chart a course for SBMI's future, I feel an enthusiasm and optimism that I hope you share. And I want to enlist your help and support as we work together to build an exceptional school of informatics that will benefit the health of our community and the world beyond. This, I believe, is our true legacy, and we can only build it together. Thank you. Thank you all. And now let's continue in this celebration of achievement. To this end, I would like to introduce Dr. Fickenscher, the newly elected president of our school's student governance organization for the 2013-2014 academic year. Dr. Yusuf will present the John P. McGovern Outstanding Teacher Award.
Good afternoon. The John P. McGovern Outstanding Teacher Award is presented annually to a faculty member who not only provides information, but also substantially contributes to the student's ability to think critically. The recipient must cultivate student confidence in the roles for which they are being educated, while stimulating their future quest for knowledge and ongoing professional development. 5 nominations were submitted this year by the student body. At this time, I would like to recognize the faculty who were nominated. Will you please stand and remain standing until all of the names have been called? The nominees are Dr. Trevor Cohen, Dr. Amy Franklin, Dr. Yang Gong, Dr. Sriram Iyengar, and Dr. Hambing Wang. Please join me in congratulating once more all of these outstanding faculty nominees. Thank you. Please be seated. In submitting their nominations, students were asked to explain how the faculty member demonstrated deep knowledge of their area of expertise, sustained enthusiasm for teaching, continued interest in understanding students, responded quickly to students' questions, and encouraged independent thinking. Once again, I want to congratulate all of our fine nominees. And now, the moment of truth. The recipient for the 2013 John P. McGovern Outstanding Teacher Award is Dr. Trevor Cohen. Congratulations, Dr. Cohen. Could you please come forward to the podium to accept your award and say a few words?
So of course I'd like to thank the student body first, who are, I guess, the force behind deciding who ends up with this award. But not just for the award. So as you've probably gathered by now, I haven't prepared anything to say, but what I will say is this. So when thinking back at what are the qualities that I aspire towards in a teacher, I think back to the excellent teachers that I've had, both within curricular activities and in extracurricular activities. And I think the qualities that stand out to me most as qualities I aspire towards are clarity of expression and enthusiasm for the subject being taught. And so with those two things in mind, I'd like to share the credit for this award a little. With respect to clarity of expression, I think some credit for this, if this manifests in my teaching, is due to my wife, who suffered through a fair amount of my material in its initial iterations, but also to the students that I've interacted with over the years, who've helped me see where what I was saying was not easy to interpret initially. And then for enthusiasm, I think some credit goes to the teachers that I've had who've instilled their enthusiasm for this subject and for teaching in me, and then also to the students that I've been interacting with here, because enthusiasm doesn't exist in a vacuum. So without the brave students who've taken that time, trouble, and effort to grapple with this material with great enthusiasm from their side, I don't think that quality would have manifested in my teaching either. So with that, thanks again for this award.
And now, I want to introduce our SBMI alumnus and the new Alumni Association President, Dr. Mohammed Hussain, who will present our school's inaugural Distinguished Alum Award.
Good afternoon. The UT Health School of Biomedical Informatics Alumni Association was established as an important arm of SBMI, a way for alumni to continue and deepen their ties with the school and one another, while also creating a legacy of service to the field of informatics and SBMI. Every single graduate who walks today will become an ambassador of our school and the field of informatics. And today, you will all become members of the SBMI Alumni Association. While we're celebrating your achievements today, fellow graduates, we'll also be celebrating the outstanding contributions to informatics made by one of our SBMI alumni. In fact, this year marks the very first Distinguished Alum Award accorded by the school. The individual selected for this honor is well known in the field, locally and nationally, and has served SBMI, his employer, and informatics and other professional organizations very well. An MD who trained at Baylor, he received an MS at SBMI in 2002. Presently, he is the Chief Medical Information Officer at MD Anderson, where he also serves as professor in the Department of Anesthesiology and Perioperative Medicine. As CMIO, he has the responsibility to provide patients, providers, and researchers access to information and tools to further their understanding of cancer and its treatment. He leads a team responsible for a comprehensive reporting environment that supports operational and research queries and lends his expertise as part of the leadership team that will onboard MD Anderson's newly announced off-the-shelf electronic health record. I'm very proud to call to this stage the inspirational Dr. John C Frenzel, who we are recognizing today with the 2013 Distinguished Alum Award. Congratulations, Dr. Frenzel. Please could you come to the podium to accept your award and say a few words as well.
I'd like to thank the faculty and staff, students, and my fellow alumni. I'm an anesthesiologist, as you heard. I was in the OR this morning doing cases. And in thinking about what I was going to say today, I began to look at how medicine has changed. It's at an inflection point, a point where folks with training around IT can make an inordinate difference to where medicine is going to be. When you look at the challenges that medicine faces today, the need for safety, efficiency, effectiveness, being able to move the state of the science ahead, it is not folks like me in the OR with hands-on patients that are going to make that change. While we are necessary, we are not sufficient to make this change happen. Our nation needs us, our patients need us. And so when you look forward to your future, you look forward to the opportunities that will present themselves, remember the things that you do, the things that you turn your hand to, the things that you use your mind for, can influence patient care, not just here where you work, potentially in a med center or in a hospital, not just here in Harris County, not just in the state of Texas. The things that you will do will influence not just our nation, but the world. The innovation that you're going to bring, the innovation of your experience and knowledge, the safety that you'll bring to the patients, the knowledge that you'll help researchers bring, the speed to effectiveness that our healthcare institutions need desperately at this time, that our nation needs desperately at this time, are in your hands. This is a time when information technology can and will change patients' lives. And the things that you've dedicated your lives to at this point are going to be critical in making that happen. I salute you and I ask you, live fiercely, work hard, and understand that what you do incredibly matters. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Frenzel, and congratulations. You represent the best among our alumni, and we hope that many more will follow you and achieve similar feats. So, and now to recognize our current students who have received fellowships or scholarships, or scholarship awards, this academic year. Please hold your applause until all students have been recognized. The Gulf Coast Consortium National Library of Medicine Fellow is Caleb Goodwin. The Gulf Coast Consortium Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality Fellows, Gina De Cruz, Sina Madani, Shailaha Menon, Vicky Nguyen, Melissa Resnick, Anna Shu. The Schul Institute Scholars, Jesus Ibarra and Claire Lowe. CPRIT, Cancer Prevention Research Institute of Texas Scholar, is Sahiti Menini. Dr. Doris Ross, merit-based scholarships in the fall of 2012. Jennifer Gardner, Claire Lowe, Melissa Resnick, Jody Condon, and for the spring of 2013, Frank Diaz, Rafiq Youssef, and Chen Liang. The Glassell Student Excellence Scholarships in the spring of 2013, Min Jiang and Santosh Joshi. Betsy Markowitz, Janbo Lei, and Ruth Ungerer. The Willerson Endowed Scholarships for fall of 2012, Caleb Goodwin and Ning Shang, and for spring of 2013, Sahidi Menini. I apologize to everyone whose names I've butchered mercilessly. However, hopefully you are still able to recognize the names, and please congratulate all recipients of these awards.
Now, it's with great pleasure and pride that I introduce this year's commencement speaker. Many of you are already acquainted with Dr. Kevin Fakingsure, both by name and reputation. First and foremost, he is president and CEO of the American Medical Informatics Association, or AMIA, as it is known by those assembled here today and all of the professionals in our field. For the friends and families of our graduates, AMIA is one of the foremost professional associations leading the transformation of healthcare in this country through robust science, education, and the practice of informatics. Dr. Kevin Fakingsure, however, is not just the public face of AMIA. He is one of a rare breed of physician executive with extensive experience in strategic and operational development within complex healthcare organizations. Moreover, he is a thought leader in the healthcare technology and information management industries. Dr. Fickenscher graduated from the University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences in 1978 and trained as a family physician. He obtained his family practice board certification in 1982. Early in his career, Dr. Fickenscher contributed to academia as an assistant dean at Michigan State University College of Human Medicine, where he developed the Center for Applied Medical Informatics. He also served as founding director of the Center for Rural Health at the University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences, and as adjunct and associate professor at several universities and colleges. Dr. Fickenscher launched his career in healthcare information technology as the Chief Medical Officer of WebMD. He subsequently became Director of Clinical Transformation at Computer Sciences Corporation, and later joined Peru Systems. Before his career shift to health IT, he served in senior administrative leadership roles for two premier integrated healthcare systems, Aurora Healthcare and Catholic Healthcare West. Among numerous other accomplishments, Dr. Fickenscher was awarded a Kellogg National Fellowship, served as health advisor for Joe Biden's 1988 presidential campaign, was recognized by the Healthcare Forum and Korn Ferry International in 1991 as one of 6 emerging leaders in healthcare, served on the Clinton Healthcare Reform Task Force, and was ranked by Modern Healthcare as number 12 among the 50 most powerful physician executives in healthcare in 2007. On a more personal side, he is a devoted husband and father of 3, an avid gourmet cook, an author, and an enthusiastic golfing aficionado. I could go on, but I think you get the idea that Dr. Fickenscher might be what they call a heavy hitter. On behalf of SBMI, I would also call him a friend. Please give a warm Texas welcome to a true visionary and leader in healthcare, both nationally and worldwide, Dr. Kevin Fakingsure.
Well, thank you very much. That's very nice. I did take my medication this morning, so I promise not to have any hallucinations with my visions. Real pleasure to be here this afternoon and have a chance to talk with you and to share some thoughts with the graduates about informatics, an area of which I have a great deal of passion. I have to admit, I was sitting here thinking about my last graduation that I went through, which was in medical school in 1973. And I remember that I was a real activist medical student, and I was involved in getting our speaker for graduation. And I was able to get Larry Weed to come to North Dakota and give the graduation speech. Larry Weed is the physician that created the problem-oriented medical record, and he was actually the forefront of informatics in this country. And I was sitting here thinking, now what did Larry say? And I thought, and I thought, and I thought, and I just couldn't quite grab what he had said, except that I remember one thing: go get him. So, out of his half-hour speech, I remember, go get him. So, hopefully you'll remember more than go get him. So, what I did today is I prepared some materials that I wanted to present, because you can't go anywhere without PowerPoints in 2013. This is a very famous Japanese painting, and it's my metaphor for what's going on in healthcare. It's a Japanese painting of a tsunami wave. Now, many people in the United States didn't really know what a tsunami wave was until about 4 years ago on Christmas Eve, when we woke up and we turned on the television, CNN, and we saw this massive wave of destruction sweeping ashore in Southeast Asia. And we said, whoa, that's a very destructive wave. What's interesting about tsunami waves is that when you're out in the middle of the ocean and a tsunami wave goes by, you don't feel it because it dissipates into the depths of the ocean. It's only when a tsunami gets close to shore, because it's a sound wave that is moving through water, that it creates a massive wave of destruction that you cannot stop. You cannot build enough brick walls. You cannot plant enough trees. It will destroy everything in its path. Why is that my metaphor for healthcare? Well, what's interesting about tsunamis is that they are separated from the point of inception and the point of destruction by time and distance. I think that in healthcare, there's a number of disruptions that started to occur, and I'm going to describe some of them for you, about a decade ago, that are causing tsunami waves in healthcare. Tsunami waves that we cannot stop. And the lesson that I keep telling everybody is, don't build brick walls, don't plant more trees, learn how to surf the tsunami. And that's, as graduates, one of the things that you need to learn how to do. So this is my metaphor for healthcare, and it's a metaphor that I think is very apt for our discussion this afternoon. Jonathan Swift in 1711 said, "Vision is the art of seeing things invisible." Vision is the art of seeing things invisible. Charles Duell, 1899, "Everything that can be invented has been invented." Vision is the art of seeing things invisible. Harry Warner, 1927, "Who the hell wants to hear actors talk anyway?" Vision is the art of seeing things invisible. Or my favorite, Bill Gates in 2008, "The spam problem will be solved by 2009. A true visionary of our times. Marcel Proust said, "The real voyage of discovery consists not of finding new lands, but of seeing the territory with new eyes." Folks, that's what informatics is all about. I have to agree with what John Frenzel said. Informatics is going to change healthcare. You are on the forefront of one of the most exciting periods, I think, in healthcare's history in the last century. I can think of a couple things that really changed healthcare. One of them was, the invention of antibiotics. One of them was antisepsis. Informatics is the change of this century. And you, as young professionals, are the future lights of how we are going to make healthcare better. Because I don't know about you, I do know about you. You got into healthcare for the same reason I did. You wanted to help people. And this is another way of helping people. So it's a very, very exciting period that I think that we're entering. So my question for the graduates: who in the last century saved the most money in healthcare costs? Any of you have any idea who it was? Any guesses? Oh, there's got to be one guess. I mean, you're highly educated people here. No guesses? Oh, you're shy. Well, a lot of people think it was this guy, C. Everett Koop, who recently passed away. Why? Well, because C. Luther Terry is the guy who actually issued the smoking report. And then C. Everett Koop came along and used the bully pulpit, and the smoking rate in the United States went from 40% to 18% over a period of about 30-some years. I mean, I remember in medical school, my first year in medical school, we actually smoked in class until the class took a vote, and we were the first class to not allow smoking in class. Now that's an amazing change that's occurred over 30-some years. I say 30-some because I don't want to tell you specifically how many. But it wasn't this guy. It wasn't this guy. It was this guy. And you say, oh, Kevin, Elvis Presley? Elvis Presley saved the most money? Why did that happen? Well, on October the 28th, 1956, many of which you will not remember this date, I was informed about that this lunchtime, where one of the students reminded me that he had not been born when I graduated from medical school. So in 1956, many of you were not here yet, but in 1956, a very, very important thing happened, and that is that Elvis Presley went on television. He went on a simulcast on ABC, NBC, and CBS, and he had his polio immunization done by Dr. Salk, the inventor of the polio vaccine. The immunization rate in the United States over the next 9 months went from 0.6% to 93% for polio. Amazing. But it's not about polio. It's about the fact that we suddenly recognized that immunizations were okay. And all of a sudden, people started getting immunized. And when we started doing immunizations, all of a sudden we had measles, mumps, rubella, now we have pneumonia, we have all sorts of immunizations that we do that prevent disease from occurring. That saved a whole bunch of money by a change in paradigm because one person went on television. So the question that I have to ask is, are we looking for Elvis? I used to live in Kalamazoo. He actually was purportedly living there, but I never did see him. Or is it us? I would argue that we shouldn't be looking for Elvis. We should be looking in the mirror. As Jaiji mentioned, I had the opportunity to work at Perot Systems, and when I did, I worked internationally for a period of time. And one of the things I discovered as I visited all these countries across the world is that there are two issues that dominate the discussions in virtually every society: healthcare and education, education and healthcare, healthcare and education. Those are the two issues. Healthcare is becoming the dominant issue in many of the countries around the world, for a lot of the same reasons. And there's many forces that are at play. We've got lots of consolidation that's going on. We've got breakdown of traditional boundaries. For example, Walmart is getting into the healthcare business, if you can imagine. We're seeing the rising tide of technologies, and we're seeing the globalization of our workforce. All of these things are happening in part because of technology. And those tsunami waves are occurring because we have a global economy, because the resources of the countries are being stretched all across the world, because we have boomers. There's a lot of us. We are very demanding people. I'm one of them. And, they're going to stress the system. They're going to stress the system because there are so many of them. But what's interesting about that is that the provider base also reflects the boomer base of the United States. So, for example, it's not well talked about very much, but fully a third of the primary care physicians in the United States over the next 7 years, so up to 2020, a third of all primary care physicians will either retire, become disabled, or die. 1/3. So do we think that our current system of modeled care that's on a pyramidal basis, docked down, is going to work? I don't think so. I don't think so. And as informaticians, we can help figure out how to deliver care more efficiently, more effectively. We have a responsibility to step forward and help solve that problem. Then there's genetics, there's also the internet, and then finally there's the whole service aspect where too often we sort of stamp it out, if you will, versus recognizing that there are different ways of delivering care to different populations for different needs. So enough of that, build up. I'd like to tell you a story. It's a story of a woman that got up every morning, and every morning she would get up and she'd go climb the mountain, and she became very well known throughout the land as the best mountain climber. And over the decades, she developed calluses on her fingertips. She developed very sinewy muscles, and she could grab a boulder and sort of leap to the next boulder. She was incredible as a mountain climber. One morning she gets up and she decides to go over to this ledge, or this ridge, that she had not been to previously. And she got over to this ridge, she climbed over to it rather quickly, actually. And when she got there, she looked down and she saw this mountain that she had never seen before. It was a very different kind of a mountain. It was flat, and it was blue. And she looked at it and she said, wow, I got to go climb that mountain. So she went down to it, she touched it. It rippled in all sorts of directions. She touched it again, she noticed that it was moist. She touched it again, smelled it, it was sweet. She stood back and said, wow, this is going to be a fun mountain to climb. And with all of her mountain skills that she had developed over several decades, she jumped on that mountain and she started to sink. Well, over the course of the next several hours, she began to realize a couple things. She realized that if she moved her arms in a synchronous fashion with her feet, that she could propel herself through this mountain. That actually, if she turned her head just at the right moment, she could take a breath and get enough oxygen so that she could continue on. And my friends, what happened is that this fabulous mountain climber, this person that was widely known as the best mountain climber in the world, learned how to swim the lake. That's what's going on in healthcare. We have in healthcare a whole bunch of people who are incredible mountain climbers, and we have a lake in front of us. We have a new era. And the issue is that not only should we know how to climb the mountain, but we have to learn to see the territory with new eyes so that we can swim the lake. That's the challenge that's in front of you as this new class of informaticians. So I'd like to turn for a minute and spend just about 10, 15 minutes, not even that, talking about leadership. Because, from my perspective, the reason we have a healthcare problem in this country is that we, the leaders of healthcare, haven't stepped up to solve the problem. We know what to do in many cases. Or we know how to find the data and the information to figure out what to do. We have that responsibility to society, so we need to step up. So I'd like to talk with you about that because I just released my book 3 weeks ago called Toto's Reflections, The Leadership Lessons from the Wizard of Oz. Now, why did I do that? Well, As you can sort of tell, I like stories. And I love the story of Wizard of Oz. I've been watching this since I was a little kid because they used to show it on Thanksgiving every year. I think it was on CBS. And, you know, sing the songs. I mean, I can sing all the songs. I can do the dances. I can do all that kind of stuff. And it's a great story. And there, embedded within the story are a tremendous number of leadership lessons. And what I'd like to do is very quickly walk you through those 15 lessons that I think are important, and then talk to you about some observations that I have about leadership. Galileo said, "One cannot teach a man anything, one can only enable him to learn from within himself." And hopefully, the School of Biomedical Informatics has done that with you, taught you to learn within yourself, because it is that passion that burns within you that will help solve the problems of the future. So let's talk about some of these lessons from The Wizard of Oz. So the first one is on why. Well, if you don't pursue your dreams, you'll never get there. I think it's as simple as that. And I would encourage you to think about, what is your vision for yourself? What is your dream that you want to pursue? Because if you pursue it, you will get there. Now, there might be several paths to getting there. I have to tell you, as a farm kid growing up in North Dakota, I did not have a dream of moving to London and working for Ross Perot. That was not part of my mentality. It happened to occur. It was a fabulous experience. I enjoyed it, but we don't always know what's out there. But have I pursued sort of one degree of passion? Yes. I have been, for the last 30 years, been pursuing the notion of, I want to help make healthcare better. That's been my personal dream. I work in all sorts of venues to try to do that. I would encourage all of you as young graduates to do that. Occasionally in life as a leader, you got to take a leap, just like Toto did when he leaped out of the basket and he escaped from the witch, Miss Gulch. Got to take a leap, and you don't know exactly how you're going to land, but you got to take that leap. It's important. You know, Toto, in the book, I describe what his parents advised him. You know, Toto was a dog that grew up in Kansas. His name was Toto Gale, from the Gale farmstead. And these are the lessons that his parents taught him: to care deeply, to bark only when necessary, but then forcefully, to be curious, to express yourself, to give a good lick of encouragement to your fellows, and to embrace the world and have no fears. Now, as you think about Toto, you know, he typifies all of these things, right? And he was a good leader. He was a good leader in many, many respects. On Munchkins, we've got to remember that we will miss the magic and intelligence of those around us if we think of them as little people. There are no little people in life. There are only people with different stature. As a leader, you need to recognize that, because reaching out to all the people around you is how you're going to solve problems. The Scarecrow taught us that we need to think, but you know, thinking is not about brains. It's about thought that comes from reflection within our soul. One of the things that one of my mentors taught me 30-some years ago is he said, you know, Kevin, one of the most important things to do as a leader is to every day take 15 minutes and sit down with yourself and think about what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. And if you do, you'll be amazed at how much energy you get out of that 15 minutes every day. I encourage all of you to think about that. And like the Scarecrow, you know, he pointed out there were lots of different directions to get to the Emerald City. And there were lots of different directions. There are lots of different directions to where informatics and what you can do with informatics to help solve healthcare problems for not, and I have to agree again with John, not just the United States, but for the world. We are the center of medical informatics and biomedical informatics in the world. We are the place that everybody turns to. I get as many phone calls from the international community as I get from the national community about the future of our field. But we've got to have heart. We've also got to have courage. Courage is really important, but it's not about the courage, it's about the commitment. We've got to collaborate with one another. working together. It's amazing what you can do when you have a whole bunch of winged monkeys coming at you. And if you work together, you can solve that problem. So working together with one another in a collaborative fashion, one of the most exciting things I think about the field of informatics is that it's not just a bunch of doctors sitting around, not just a bunch of nurses, not just a bunch of pharmacists. It is all of us together. It's a multidisciplinary field. That is the strength of our field, because we all bring different disciplinary knowledge and capability to the table. It's also about trust. There's no place like home. So you got to build trust so that people will come to you and work with you. You've got to have focus, because if you don't have focus, you can get off on all sorts of different directions. There's got to be an understanding. Always look behind the curtain, because if you look behind the curtain, you'll be amazed what you find. And that's what informatics is all about. It's all about looking behind the curtain. It's about having perspective and recognizing that we need to be more than in the moment, and we can't be everybody all the time at the same time. It's about simplicity, recognizing that the answers can be as simple as a pair of ruby red slippers. And it's about knowing yourself, knowing who you are, even before you are. And I'm being transparent, being open, being willing to fail, recognizing that you don't have all the answers. And finally, and probably most importantly, to be incredibly persistent. Being persistent as a leader is something that you got to do. My best learnings have been my biggest failures. Don't be afraid to fail. As a matter of fact, you should pursue failure. It's a great way to learn. It keeps you honest. So a couple of observations about leadership that I'd like to share with you real quickly, and then I'll wrap it up here. Leadership, from my perspective, it's the people. It's the people around you. You'll be amazed what you can accomplish if you create disciples for the work that you do. All of you had your PhD advisor, and you will be advisors too one day. You will be mentors as well. Treasure that, because it is by helping people that you build the momentum for the things that you want to accomplish with your dream. Stay true to yourself. You've got to have a vision of what you want to do. You've got to have a voice to carry out that vision, and you've got to have virtue. You've got to have a point of view about things. Don't be afraid to have a point of view. It's important to have a point of view. That's how you challenge the system. That's how we will solve problems for the healthcare systems of the world. Lean into your fears. I show this slide because I am morbidly afraid of edges. And it's because I was in the Rocky Mountains when I was a kid, and my brother walked up behind me. We were standing on this ridge, and he walked up behind me, and he took me by the shoulders and did this to me. And every time I get close to a ridge or a ledge, my heart jumps up into my throat, even when I see this picture, which I'm not looking at. I get edgy, okay, because of that moment, that it's so embedded in my brain. But you know what? One of the things I do is I go to tall buildings, and I go to the edge. I really do. I may be a nervous wreck when I'm done, but I do it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to Sydney, Australia here next week, and I've decided to climb the bridge in Sydney. Oh, it just makes me sick. We've got to listen and learn. Listen and learn. Too frequently, leaders talk. Leaders need to listen if they're going to be effective. We need to look for the resources that are around us everywhere. We need to embrace but measure change. I think that this is a really important one. We have to measure the change. We can't just go for change for the sake of change. And we need to reach out to your network. If you're planning for 1 year, plant rice. If you're planning for 10 years, plant trees. If you're planning for 100 years, plant people. It's an old Indian proverb. So I think we need to consider what it means for us to be healers in the true sense of the word. It is to plant leaders. That's what this program has done. You are the future of informatics. You're the people that will help us solve the problems. So we're in a world that is networked and virtual, not proprietary. We're in a world that's system-centric, not profession-centric anymore. We are in a world that is global and aggregated and not segmented. We are in a world that is innovation-oriented, not replication-focused. Informatics can drive innovation. I believe that the informaticians that are coming of age today are the people that are going to make healthcare better and solve the American healthcare problem. It's not sustainable on its current course. We need to make a change. We need to realize that all of these things are happening in healthcare: consolidation, globalization, virtualization, et cetera. And we need to embrace the future. We cannot hide. We need to embrace the future. So my final thought for all of you is that rather than look for Elvis, I want you to get up every morning and look in the mirror and ask yourself, what am I doing to help make healthcare better? By the way, there's one other thing I want to share with you. Go get them.
Dr. Fickenscher, thank you for being with us today and for your inspiring address. We are candidates for the Master of Science in Health Informatics degree at UT Health School of Biomedical Informatics. Please rise. Dr. Stansel, on behalf of the faculty of the UT Health School of Biomedical Informatics, it is my pleasure to certify to you that the candidates who stand before you have successfully completed all academic requirements for the aforementioned Master of Science in Health Informatics degree.
By virtue of the authority vested by the state of Texas in the Regents of the University of Texas system and delegated by them to me, I now confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Science in Health Informatics, for which you have been recommended with all rights, privileges, responsibilities, and obligations pertaining thereunto. Graduates, I offer my sincere congratulations.
We will now have Dr. Hanbin Wang call forth the graduates.
Will the master's students please come forward as your name is called? Safa Fatih Amini, MD, MS, Faculty Advisor. Trevor Cohen, MB, PhD, Alison McCoy, PhD, Pasa Mahaji, MD, PhD, and Dean Siddiq, PhD. State of Science paper, Medication Problem Pair, Knowledge Base Development using Distributional Semantics Methods. Lucas Fatuia, MS. Faculty Advisor, Juliana Brixey, RN, MPH, PhD. Capstone Project. What are the potential utilities of a PHR? A literature review. Jennifer Kim Garner, BS, MS. Faculty Advisor, Juliana Brixey, RN, MPH, PhD. Capstone Project. Mobile technologies to track dietary intake to decrease the obesity epidemic in the young U.S. adult population, a systematic review of the literature. Naveen Reddy Komara, MD, Faculty Advisor, Kim Dong, MD, PhD, and M. Sriram Iyengar, PhD, State of Science paper, Impact of Computerized Physician Order Entry on Mortality, a systematic review. Louis Lee, BS, Faculty Advisor, Mohammed Waji, PhD, and Jiajie Zhang, PhD, State of Science paper, The Effect of Dental Decision Support Systems on Clinical Performance, a literature review. Anna Lisina, BSN, Faculty Advisor, Juliana Brixey, RN, MPH, PhD, Capstone Project, Utilization of Mobile Technology in a Hospital Setting. Naki Muhammad, BA, Faculty Advisors, Juliana Brixey, RN, MPH, PhD, and Ed Shi, PhD. State of Science paper, integrative review of data governance in biomedical research literature. Shoko Nakamiya, BA, MS, PhD, Faculty Advisors, Noriyaki Aoki, MD, PhD, and Juliana Brixey, RN, MPH, PhD. State of Science paper, Evaluation of a Community-Based Health Promotion Program utilizing an online and offline combination, the effects of online diet record system on self-rated achievement. Christy Salvador Perez, MS, BSN, BS, Faculty Advisor, Juliana Brixey, RN, MPH, PhD, Capstone Project, Social Media in Healthcare, a review of the literature. Mana Soni, MBBS, Faculty Advisors, Hardeep Singh, MD, Dean Sitik, PhD, and Eric Thomas, MD, MPH. State of Science paper, Use of system workarounds in a EHR-based alert notification functionality, a qualitative study. Matthew Vanyani, BSMS, Faculty Advisor, Trevor Cohen, MB, CHB, PhD, Amy Franklin, PhD, John Frenzel, MD, MS, and Mohammed Waji, PhD. State of Science paper, Role of Cognitive Science in Overcoming Challenges in Clinical Knowledge Exploration. Thanks. Samantha Zada, BS, Faculty Advisor, Juliana Brixey, RN, MPH, PhD, Capstone Project, Social Media in Healthcare, a review of the literature. Congratulations, new alums. We celebrate your achievement and those of your fellow students who could not attend the ceremony today. Please.
Graduates, you may now move your tassel from the right to the left. Congratulations. Congratulations on receiving your master's degree in health informatics. Please give our graduates a round of applause again. Please be seated. I would now like to ask Dr. Rafiq Yusuf to return to the podium to present the Policy Board Award for Excellence in Student Research.
Thank you, Dr. Zhang. The Student Governance Organization recognizes outstanding student research efforts through the Paul C. Boyle Award of Excellence in Student Research. This award is given to an individual or first author in student informatics research. A 9-person panel composed of SBMI alumni, student, and faculty members determine the winner. These individuals judge all school poster sessions during the academic year. The recipients of the Paul C. Boyle Award for Excellence in Student Research for the fall of 2012 are Margaret Zhao Duan, Shen Liang, and Jonathan Wolford for their poster entitled The Impact of Aging on Emotional Prosody Recognition. Chen Liang will be accepting the award on behalf of the group. Please come to the podium for the award. The recipient of the Paul C. Boyle Award for Excellence in Student Research for the spring of 2013 is Scott Siddig for his poster entitled Improving Diabetic Patient Outcomes Through a Diabetic Patient Access Portal. Dr. Siddig could not attend the commencement and expressed his gratitude for the recognition. Let's acknowledge him with an applause, please. Yes, so call on Dr. Jiang. Thank you.
I would now ask that all members of the School of Biomedical Informatics, faculty, and adjunct faculty please rise so that we may acknowledge your collective efforts in educating our graduates. Now, will all the family members and friends of our graduates please stand so that we may acknowledge your patience and support of their efforts. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. George Stansel on being with us today to confer the degrees upon our graduates, Dr. Fickenscher for playing such an important role in today's commencement ceremony, other leaders within UT Health, the faculty and the staff of the School of Biomedical Informatics who have worked so diligently to make this ceremony a success, and most importantly, our students and alumni, without whom we would not be here today to celebrate this happy occasion. I ask that the audience please remain seated until the graduates, faculty, and the platform party have completed the recessional. We will now conclude our commencement ceremony with the recessional. Please join us at the Dean's reception across the hallway.